are coming to share from all over the world, and local and international, and a lot of knowledge sharing has been happening. And so this is our official start of moving from just a conversation to a podcast. And so it will take the same format for the most part. The farmer to farmer conversations and now the podcast was really designed for farmers and people in the sector, agricultural sector, to ask questions. And what we do here at Source and at JOAM is to kind of go out and find experts in the field and bring them back so that we can answer those questions. Because we're in Jamaica and we're working within the Caribbean, we have some specific needs to our microclimates and the tropical systems that we have. So some of the things that may be appropriate other places in North America and those northern exposures, it's not the same thing. But there's still some things that are commonalities. And so it's good to be able to share. And this year we're going to be doing a lot of sharing with our local folks that are here with that knowledge base across the Caribbean and then global. So I want everybody to stay tuned. When you see the invitations to join, please do join. And because it's going to be a very exciting time. And for the next couple of months, we're going to be actually doing a deeper dive because we did the farming as a business, as a conference. And a number of people kind of came and kind of beat us up a bit and saying they wanted to go to this workshop and that workshop and they couldn't because we were having them all at the same time. And we decided what we're going to do is to bring each of the guests, the amazing guests that we had that were physical in the room or if they were on Zoom, to bring them back so they can have a deeper discussion. And so you're able to ask more questions and make those connections. So for the next, at least until the end of the year, we're going to be bringing those folks back. And we're really blessed this evening to have Deanna McFarlane. She has been one of our amazing educators, very dynamic. From we started the Farmer to Farmer conversations and podcasts, and also the Farming as a Business conference, she has never missed one. Every time we ask her, she's always been there for us. And we keep asking her because we know that it's very important, the work that she does. So she is a business planning specialist, and she helps people with business plans. She's got years and years of experience. She's worked in the sector for many years and different sectors too. Everything that's connected to making sure that we have healthy, thriving businesses and agricultural business as well. So she's a wealth of knowledge and has a lot of connections. So it's somebody that you want to know. And if you're thinking about going into business, and special agricultural business, is somebody that you should really make yourself acquaintance with her, because she'll be able to save you a lot of time and money, right? And so we really wanted her to be actually the first one on, because we really want our farming enterprises to be successful. You know, it's sometimes it's hard to get money and all that stuff to start something. And so we don't want to go going into it, not doing all the best practices and understanding that you need a plan. If you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. And so we really are encouraging that. So I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. The way how this works, I think we have some new people on. So the way the format works is that we always say welcome you all. And then the housekeeping is we're going to ask you to keep yourself muted. There are going to be time to ask questions, all that stuff, but we want to limit the background noises. So we're going to be asking you to mute. And then we're also, if you have questions when we get to that point, you can, raise your hand. There's that, everybody's kind of understanding how to use this platform Zoom now. So you can raise your hand. And also you may have a burning question. You can put it in the chat, right? And we'll make sure we go over the chat questions, right? So this is kind of how we want to work it. And we're going to be kind of going for, usually these last an hour and a half, depending on the amount of questions that you have. We always ask our guests to, they're going to be sharing information with us. And so it might be good to have a notebook so you can write some things down, right? Because this is almost like a little Sunday evening class that we're doing. So without further ado, I want to welcome Deanna to our first official podcast. So this is a historic moment for us to actually start doing this in this way. And I want to ask you a little bit about your origin story. So I want you to tell us, how did you get into this business of working with people and their business plans?
Well, my working career started in the bank. And I worked there several years, and then I moved on to an insurance company. And from there, I moved to another insurance company, and I did mortgages. And I worked with manpower. So then I went to all kinds of companies. And business is just, it's something that you can become infected with. And I would say I got infected with business. Anyway, I went back to the bank, and then I had children, and wanted to go, I worked with the bank when I had my first child part-time. And I found out that when you work part-time, they give you all-day work to do in half day. So I decided I would go back out full-time, and I got a job with chartered surveyors. These are not people who measure land. They plan developments and cities and that kind of thing. And that was also mind-blowing. And then by this time, my family is growing and so on, and I decided to go out and shop for things that were made in Jamaica. I wanted to, my dinnerware. I like setting the table and so on. And I had china, and I had everything from Wedgwood and whatever, because I got them as wedding presents. But I wanted something Jamaican. And I walked to every shop, and nobody had anything Jamaican. So I decided I'm going to make china. And it's a long story. It's a 15-year-old story. So I won't tell you the whole story. But ladies and gentlemen, I got a good lesson in business. Trade board, $50. You can't travel with more than $50. You have to buy. And then if you didn't get a license, you couldn't get a draft to buy to pay for your raw material. So I know it all. Sleepless nights, hiring people, working with them, training them, loving them. And somewhere in that journey, I realized I didn't know enough. And here I am in the middle of this deep blue sea, and I don't know enough. So I went to university to learn business. Before I could finish, though, we had that awful economic experience in Jamaica, and I had to close my business. Luckily for me, I was able to pay off my loans before FinSat came into the picture. So I know about that. I took a loan. It was at 15% when I took it. And by the time the first month passed, it was 21% interest, and so it went. I paid up to 69% interest during my sojourn. So I know business, I know it's hard, but then I got the tools, and I decided that my next venture would be to share those tools, put those tools in my own toolbox, and share those tools with the business community. As a consultant, I started this in 2000. I did a stint with one of the agencies that worked with a big international program funded by the EU and the Jamaican government. And I got more intimate with the business community. And when I left that in 2010, because the program closed, it was just to last till 2010, and it came to an end. And so I left that job on the 31st of January, and I opened Edma Solutions, which is Enterprise Development and Market Access Solutions, 1st of February. And it has been a great ride. I work a lot. I've worked in all the industries: building, construction, development, farming. I just made a little note. Cattle, goats, pigs, crops, biofuels. The crops are either food crops, vegetable crops. Yes, I've been through all of them. And the
Do you
one
remember?
thing I've come away with is that very few of my clients keep their records.
Okay,
So
we're
they
going to
plan
definitely.
in the dark. We plan in the dark or with a theoretical production and thing. We don't know what we are doing. So I know it's a business planning workshop that you wanted me to present, but we have to start from record keeping. And so
Okay.
this year, I kind of took a little liberty with the topic and I
Mhm.
started with record keeping. And I worked hard at it because earlier in the year, I did some work with some goat farmers and I'm a praying person. So I said, Lord, everywhere I go, the farmer has to keep diaries. How on earth are they going to find back the information? And he said to me, what about Excel? And I said, but Excel is a figures thing. He said, yes, but if you write something in a cell, it can go to some another cell. So why don't try that? I don't know much about the internet nor even technology. So I decided to try it. And I've worked on it and I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's the best. I don't know if people tell me, yes, it looks useful, but I want to share it with you. I shared it at the conference and only one person, I gave out an invitation. If you need help, call me. One person has called me, and we are working together on her little farm. And she hasn't started yet, but she's prepared to do it the correct way. And I'm
Okay.
here again this evening. I'm going to share everything I know with you. That's what I do with all my clients. Everything I know that is relatable to their projects, I share it with them.
And that's one of the reasons that we really like the way how you approach things, because you're very open. You're not holding
Yeah.
anything. You really want to see the farmers progress and help the people. So I know that you came with a PowerPoint. You can load the PowerPoint on. While
I
you're doing this, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you remember your
yes.
first client?
Yes, my first client came to me from the clients list at the agency I worked with.
Okay.
But we finished with her to a point, but she needed to go on. And so she said, look here, I know the program has closed, but you are my consultant. And she's still my client.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent.
Yes, and that has been 2010, and this is when 14, 15 years now. She's still
Okay.
my client. Yes, anything. What I find is when you when people know that you are sincere in helping them, they become your friend. And so all my clients I consider them my friends, and they know they can call me anytime, and I don't always charge them. So
Okay.
maybe that's why too.
That's all
Yes, I'm going
excellent.
to go for the document. Yes,
The share is open. You can go
yes.
ahead and share. Okay.
Are you seeing it?
I see something's coming up. Okay. There you
Oh,
go.
you have it?
Yes, we're all seeing it.
Okay. Okay, I have it here too. So shall I go on?
Yes, man. Yes, definitely
Okay.
share with us the record keeping piece, because it's very important, as you know.
Yes, yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming out. Um, I know that some come out and don't stay, but so I'm going to invite you, please, to stay if you do come out. And I just want to let you know that I'm starting with record keeping because it is very important when you're business planning. You ought to know the nitty gritty of the business when you're planning. And because I have over the years realized that record keeping is the hardest thing for you to do, I will start with that. Um, I wanted to simplify it. I know there's a lot of, the Ministry of Agriculture has gone out and done a lot of books on how to record keep for animals, for crops, for everything to do with agriculture. But it can be very confusing. Let me make sure I can work this thing well. I'm sure what I am doing. Okay. Okay. So today we're going to talk really about how record keeping impacts strategic planning. And I don't think I have to emphasize that you need for, especially we're talking about strategic planning, it's more than just writing down two things. It's writing and balancing and checking and knowing for sure that what you have put together is a workable thing. You're going to need.
Deanna, before you even go further into
Yes.
detail, when you said strategic planning, I wonder if most of the people understand about what strategic planning is. So can you just talk a little bit more about strategic planning? Because
Yeah.
we
Okay.
plan, but strategic planning, what's that?
Well, you know the word strategic?
Mhm.
It comes from the warmongers,
Mm,
It's a warrior's word.
okay.
Yeah, okay. Business, a lot of the terms in business comes from the warrior's toolkit
Mhm.
because business is war. Why I say that? You have to get your clients or your customers. You must keep them. To expand your business, you must go and take clients from your competitors. You must be ahead of your competitors at all times. You must be watching the economy, the big picture. You're supposed to be watching the industry movement. So you have to have your spies out, you know. So people who go into business because they say they're retired now and they want to relax and so on, that's not the right attitude. It's a warlike environment out there. And when I say to you, you have to go get your customers, every every producer in your area is looking at the same customer pool and they're going for theirs. So you have to fight to pull out your own. Strategic planning is how you set up your strategies so that you can really get into the marketplace, get your clients, match their needs with your product, deliver on time. It's, well, if you're in business and at all, it's a bit of a war out there anyway. I don't have to emphasize that. And you need to know the characteristics of the business world. And you need to know the functions of management. A lot of people think management is just sitting on top and pointing fingers and so on. Those of us who are in the trenches know that it's not like that. You have 150 things to do every single day. And as we go on, you will see where all those things come from. You must know what functions the manager should be performing. Now, most small businesses attempt to master the management functions. But in it all, there is the operations, there's the human resources, there's the financing, there is that marketing war that you have to be hitting at. And I'll tell you a story. A client of mine has a juice on the market, and she has to be trekking around all the supermarkets because the minute her competitor sees her juices in lining up beside theirs, they push her back and put their juices in front of hers. So look here, it's not you one worry, everybody is worrying, but it's a constructive war. So we're not talking about retaliating in any violent way. And you have to know how to manage the business because the business has characteristics, and at different stages, you need to handle it differently. So we have to look at the business life cycles, what to expect at the life cycle stages of the business so that you can ready yourself to perform properly. And you have to know what kind of strategies you're going to need at different stages. And we're going to touch on that in a little more detail. And then you have to manage the strategic planning process. Now, can you imagine you're going to a war and you don't know strategy and planning gives you the picture that you have to have some numbers. You don't know the size of the market. You don't know how many competitors you have. You don't know how many products. You have to know the numbers. And if you're afraid of numbers, let me tell you what my mother told me. She says, she was a mathematician. She says, only numbers speak the truth. Other people tell me that's not true, but I believe my mother. Only numbers tell the truth. One is always one, and two is two. And not
Deanna, I agree with you.
yeah?
Deanna, I absolutely agree with you because I keep reminding people that we live in this entire construct of this world is mathematical. So
Yes.
if we don't understand the math, we're not going to
Right.
understand. Yeah, so
Right.
it's so important for us to be able to understand that there's math
Right.
in
And the more
everything.
you watch the Discovery Channel and so on, you find out that everything is mathematical,
Mhm.
but that's big maths. This
Right.
is simple maths. Okay. And you asked what is strategic management? It's strategic planning is an art because some people look at the numbers and they make absolutely no sense to them. So Miss Mac tell me to look at the numbers and develop a strategy, but I don't know what this means. You have to have a little entrepreneurship. I don't know if you can teach it though. I hate to them teaching it in universities, entrepreneurship. I don't think you can really teach it. There are some people that it's an inbuilt art, but you can refine it by learning more and more how to do that. So you have to know a lot of things so you know which one to apply.
Right.
I mean, what you apply to an agricultural project, you don't apply to a tourism project. You don't apply to a medical service project or another kind of professional project. So you have to know about what you're doing. But the concept of planning focuses on integrating various departments. Now you hear that people use this word all the time. They will say, "Oh, that company they operate in silos," and for a long time I didn't even know what they were talking about. But silos are those tall buildings filled with grain or oil or whatever, and everybody's operating efficiently in their silo. That's not good strategy. If a company is operating in silos, they have poor business planning strategies. You have to be able to integrate what is happening in the silos to fit the whole picture. So that's it. Now let me go back. No, whatever you do for marketing in terms of the strategic planning, you have to do it for finance, you have to do it for human resources, and you have to do it for productions and operations. And everything is a little different, but very similar. And finance has to mate with marketing. You can't go ahead and develop a marketing program that you can't pay for because you would be in trouble before you even start. Marketing is supposed to bring in money, and therefore you don't want to spend all your finance bringing in money, because when the money comes in, you have the human resources that needs it, the production and operations. So you can't really operate effectively in silos. Okay, let's move on. Now, for farm management, you have crops, livestock production. You can see the list. I can give you, I can say to the organizers here that anybody who is interested can get the workshop PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, we will make it
What?
available.
Yes, but just look at the list. How
Mhm.
can one person do all that? It's a big list, you know? It's a long list, and everything here has some complexities to it. So the land could have other little things coming down. I'm working on a project now, and the man got the lovely land, good price, everything. Now he's ready to build the put on the infrastructure. You realize that he can't get it level unless the machinery have been on the land a year trying to level it. So
Wow.
under everything is a whole long list that would go under every single major topic. So you have to know. If you're in the business already, you need to know your numbers. If you're going in the business, you have to know what they are and what are the good numbers. What makes the project worthwhile. What numbers would indicate that the project is worthwhile. I'm trying to get through this. Okay, now for each function, so for each of these, you have these 5 things to do. You have to plan, then you have to organize. You can make a plan, you know. And if you don't organize how the plan will be implemented, you're in big trouble. Then you organize it, and then you have to implement it. But everybody knows that between organizing and implementing, the job is very critical and difficult and complicated. And then you have to staff. Now, a lot of people, when they start in their business, they say, look here, send my nephew over. Him not doing anything and him lazy. But send him over and I will employ to help. No, young man not doing anything and lazy. Can't help you in your business. You know? Wrong stuff. Let me bring in my father. Him don't know nothing about accounts, but he can read and write. I'm going to bring him in because trust him, I'm not going to skive off no money. He'll be my accountant. He can't help you. Right? You're going to be in trouble. And you have to be able to control. I'm not saying you have to bully people, but you have to be able to control. A lot of people start their businesses and they have no rules, no regulations, and everything is going wild. So every worker feels that when you bake the patty, they can eat lunch right out of the oven. No, they can't eat lunch out of the oven because every patty costs you. And you have to pay them out of what you make as a profit from the patties. Maybe you put in place that they can only eat 2 patties a week, but you must have something to control what is happening in your business. And it goes for all the departments that you have. So let's go on. Remember, I said you have to know the stage that your business is at, because every stage of business has an element of crisis.
Mhm.
And every stage of business, you want it to grow so that it will get to the next stage and the next set of crises. Because every stage has crisis. You have an idea and you're going to put it into business, like me and my idea that I was going to make. And I was in business 15 years, so I did do it. And my husband had a course in England, and I went with him, me and my children, and I made friends, and so that I could leave my children some days with a neighbor and go to the different places in England where they made pottery and learn something. So it was an opportunity, but that is what you call it at the seed stage. And where growth is through creativity. I was creative. Every opportunity, anything happened, I found an opportunity out of it to develop my business.
Mhm.
But there was a crisis of leadership because guess what? I was the only person in the business. Then I staff the business. I have to teach. And in that particular business, it's hands-on teaching. My hands were in the clay. My hands were in on every mold. My hands taught them how to fix it before, to move it from one stage to another. We packed the kilns together. We waited until they were, the whole thing.
The whole thing.
And it's the same with crops. The next, but eventually I grew to a real, like a startup business. I went out and my first customers, and those of you who are old enough to remember Leonard de Cordova was my first customer. They sold high-end china and housewares. So I wasn't doing nonsense. Okay. I couldn't do nonsense and go to them. So I didn't even know I was so fortunate until later on. I'm saying, oh my God, the first person you went to was Leonard de Cordova. And I can't forget the Sunday before I had the appointment for the Monday morning. And the Sunday I said to myself, but I never sell a ticket yet. How am I going to sell this thing? And a voice said to me, call your friend. And I called my friend, who was a super salesman. And he said, Deanna, it's Sunday afternoon. I am not coming. I said, you have to come. You are my friend. Your wife is my best friend. And you are my friend. You have to teach me selling. Well, he gave me a quick lesson. He eventually came and gave me a lesson. And I practiced that lesson all 15 years. And I outsold my production year after year after year. So good. But guess what? That's not good enough. Outselling your production is not a sign of success. You must bring your production up to speed so you meet your orders. So my customers were always anxious to know if they were going to get their full order. You don't want, so when other people got in the business, they copied me first thing, and then they got some of my clients. I didn't know that I was warring with some unknown forces. Had I known, I would have done things a little differently, and maybe I would still be in that business. Okay, so your business has grown and you have a crisis of autonomy. You alone, you can't continue. You can't continue. So you have to organize the business into departments. Well, in the farming industry, sometimes the labor know more than the owner. But even if the labor knows more than the owner, you have to organize it so that labor is going to be feeding back to the owner in such a way that you are not stagnant, you are learning, and that they are also learning some management things from you, because they will have two other people, one in the seedling unit and one in the field. And then he or she who knows more than you has to organize them. So in a little time, you better catch up and know more than him or her, okay? So you have the business becomes organized into units or departments. Well, it's a farming, don't have no departments. That's not true. That's not true. If you think farming don't have no departments, think again. That's not true. You have to have managers or supervisors, and your staff must be trained. I'm working on a project now. I'm the consultant. There's a training going on. I go to the training. I go to the training because my boss is learning. I need to know at least as much as he does. I think I need to know more. And who he is planning to employ, we take them along also to the training. You know? And all those things, have a cost element. Everything here really comes right back down to financing when you get into the nitty-gritty of it. But all of a sudden now, the crisis is how you're going to control all these different elements that have to be operating smoothly and integrating with each other. And then you have a crisis of how you're going to control it. So how you're going to control it, you have to delegate some of the responsibilities to others. But when you delegate, you must have a feedback system. In business, it's called reporting. I don't know if I would trust everybody I employ to remember everything. So they have to bring the book with the records. But a lot of businesses have no record keeping. So them, the workers, the supervisors, everybody's just guessing. Guessing. Did we have rain last week? Yes, sir, we have rain Monday. No, it wasn't Monday. The thunder rolled, but we did the rain didn't come. I think it was Wednesday. How much rain was it? You don't know. You test the soil. You know if the soil has moisture in it. You're ready to fertilize. Well, I don't know the nitty-gritty of farming, but I would imagine you don't want to fertilize on really dry ground because once you wet it, it's going to give a flood of nutrients. I'm just imagining. I may be wrong. To the plants, you want to fertilize when the ground has some moisture in it so it can start to to mildly spread its benefits, and then you water to expand that benefit. I work with a lot of agri-parks. Do you know an agri-park is supposed to be supplied with water? And a lot of them, water is scarce. And the powers that be who have leased them the land and is expecting that they are going to solve Jamaica's food crisis, not fixing it. But that is another story. So the minute you have departments now, the silo thing comes in. And the silo thing can be even in a small business. It's not only big businesses have a silo. And it's not only government. I don't know if you know, but sometimes you have to get a letter from the government. And that lady is not at work, miss. So she's sick and she won't be back till Monday. Hello? Somebody should be there to give you a letter, because it has happened to clients of mine recently where they're supposed to get a letter to move to the next stage and the person to issue the letter is sick. And nobody in the government system can give the letter except that sick person who is at home. But can't work like that. That place is operating in a silo kind of environment. So you have to be able to have your silos, have your departments, but not operate them. Businesses have red tape, and we know government full of red tape. But red tape is not a bad thing. But when the red tape, this cannot be function all the time, when the tape cannot be reeled off all the time, it causes a problem, because growth will only come to that organization or that business through a coordinated effort and through collaboration. And every time you set something new, you have a little bit of the stage before that you have to fix in the new system. So you have to kind of be able to look at where you are and be very fair when you're doing your personal critique. Don't say you are scaled up when really you're just barely coming out of coming into a startup operation. Don't. I hate when people don't put a thing in the ground yet and talking about export. What it takes to export. Those of you who are working in the sector long enough know that's a whole lot of controls and red tape to begin to export anything. And you cannot export to a country. They call Jamaica the land of samples. You know why? We love what we have, and we know it tastes best out of all the products across the world. But we don't grow enough. Those supermarkets would gobble up the entire island's productions of some crops in a day. They need containers going out weekly at least. And multiple containers most of the time. So when you're in seed stage and startup stage, don't start talking about export. And don't follow the agencies that say, oh, honey, yes, man, you can export honey. You can't export honey. Honey carry a lot of things. And you have to beat all those biosanitary, jump all those hoops before you can get a bottle through the door. Yes, somebody can buy a bottle of honey and take it to the country, into their country, but not in container loads. So here is what you have to find a little way to develop a clientele abroad, and that would be through the gift shops on the North Coast. So you're thinking about exporting, go gift shops first with some of the things, or the small natural food stores or something before you go out big. Because I was with a client when I was at this agency, and she was doing confectionery, and she did tambourine balls. She sent some tambourine balls in her cousin's suitcase a month before, and the shop sell it off in no time flat. So they made an order, and she filled the order and sent it. And while she's talking to me, she got a phone call. The Canadian customs have confiscated the goods because they say the fruit is rotten. Now you know that you and I know that when the tamarind ball is being made, the fruit is next to rotten, don't it? The thing must be very ripe and coming off the seeds and whatever. So whatever they use to test the sweeties, the tamarind balls, it came up that it was on the rotten scale. It wasn't rotten, you know. It's because that's how it is. When it's very soft and very malleable, that is how we make tamarind balls with it. But it came up on the rotten scale. And guess what? They took the entire batch, cost her thousands of dollars to make and export, and dumped it. So you have to know all those things. You have to know all those things. Let's go to the next stage. So managers have to identify their business stage. They have to identify critical issues facing the business. So if you're at this stage and you don't know what is facing the business, what are the pros and cons of your stage, you're in trouble. You have to set SMART objectives. And just in case you forgot what SMART means specific objectives. They must be measurable. That means a number again. They must be achievable. So the number can be beyond your capability or the characteristic of it, whatever it is. It must be relevant, and most likely the relevance to the marketplace, and it must happen within a certain time. Anything can happen over a long period, a short period, a medium-sized period. But when do you want it to happen? Because you have to put the number of sales and when you're going to collect in the cash flow for the business plan, when we don't reach there yet, in order to account for it and make the planning realistic. The plan must be something that could happen on the ground. But if you don't know the time when you're going to achieve certain things, you can't put it in the business. You must know what are your KPIs, and that is key performance indicators. What are the key things you need to watch to know if your business is performing well? And of course, those key things are the indicators that you're going to monitor. Then you have to monitor it and evaluate for performance. And if necessary, adjust the strategies. So for instance, let's say you have an order to deliver and something happened on your farm that stopped the crop. The crop is coming on very nicely. Your neighbor burn a fire. The fire jump the fence, burn up your crop. But your client is waiting on the goods Monday, and this is Thursday. You have to jump up, find somebody else with the same crop, buy it from them, and sell it to. Don't introduce it. We gotta take away your client. You understand? But you have to find a way to solve that problem. And so you have to adjust your strategy. Your strategy was to grow the product, but something happened and the product is not going to be grown. You have to find a way to keep the market satisfied, because if you disappoint the market, there is always somebody else. And if you disappoint the market by always under delivering, it opens up the way for a competitor to come in and take away your market. Okay. Information is essential for good planning. Information on the crops or the products, information on the market. Then you have to have information on the packaging, information on the pricing. These are just a few things. Information on every single thing. You have to know the information on the health requirements. So for instance, maybe if she had added a little additive, this client that got their food, her product designated rotten and had it thrown away. Maybe she had added a little chemical to the sweetie. It would not have registered in the rotten, at the rotten stage, and it would have gotten in. We have to know all these things, and we can't know them unless we really and truly have all the information on everything, not only on what we are doing, but what the market wants, what are the rules and regulations for the particular country or the particular distributor. Okay, so you're writing down everything. You're writing down everything. One thing you want to know what happened. How would you, remember this man is writing, this look like 1 day, 2 days. I have 30 pages of this. You know how hard it would be to get through to find all the dark blue, all the this. I mean, he has written it out as best as he can, but he has 30 pages of this. Plus, he has to work all day. It's a small business, So, it's at night he is doing this. Gone to sleep before him do 10 pages at the end of the month. And then he has to start writing for the next month. So something is going to be dropped off his calendar. And that was what, when I see, because I've been working in the agricultural sector long enough to know that everybody has a nice looking book to put down everything about the cow, everything about the goat, the mother, the father, the lineage, the amount of milk or the weight gain thing and so on. But getting back to looking at all the information to make a sensible analysis is tough. You can't look back. And that stimulated me to do the Excel. Now, I would rather to just give you a brief overview of the Excel here, if that is okay with you. Right? Is that all right?
Yes, ma'am. Please do. Go ahead.
So I'm going to stop sharing this and put on the Excel file. Oh, more people are here than I ever see. Thank God. I thought I was speaking to just the organizers. Thank you all for being here. I hope I'm not boring you.
Not at all. I think it's very important for us to go through, and lots of thought in the various pieces of conversation that you're having, because even I've been in business for a number of years, and some of the information is triggering me to think about things as well. And that's what's important, that we are never too old to learn. And sometimes we've been doing things for a while. Sometimes we have to be reminded that, oh, I forgot about this part. I forgot about that. We have to do this. And always to go back through that to your work with that lens of a different perspective on things and never feel like you think you know too much. So I'm really happy that you're able to give us some more information, because I'm now going back to look at my small business and look at some of the things that I've forgotten that I need to go and do. And definitely record keeping is always one of the things. So
Always.
always.
For the current operations as well as for the I have so many things open. I hope I'm opening the right one. You'll forgive me. No, this is it. That
So
was the
even for us, I like, well, you're going to bring on the Excel spreadsheet, but
yes.
I was speaking to someone and I've been saying it over and over again. You know, when we do take the time and do these strategic plans, we've got to pull them and use them. It don't make sense we make this plan and we don't look at it. It's very important.
Yes.
So yes, I want to see what you have for the Excel spreadsheet.
Yes. Are you seeing it?
I just see, it just see the introduction, but I think you
Yeah,
need to,
just the one. The first. This is the first.
right, the
First.
first, right.
Are you seeing it?
I'm seeing it.
Okay, because I'm also seeing it on my other page. I have two
I
screens.
think you need to, right, switch that slide up.
Switch it.
So open it up so it's a whole thing, because right now we're seeing
You're not seeing the whole page.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, this was the PowerPoint I was dealing with before.
Right.
No, that was the PowerPoint I was dealing with before.
Right.
Okay, let me go back and get the right. No. Let me go back. Let me go back. I think I should open back the same thing. Stop sharing. Okay. And I want to share again, so come here. I have a lot of them open, you know, and that's always my problem. Final record keeping.
I see that you're multitasking with a lot of different projects.
Yes, and then I'm in trouble. All right, let me just open a file. I don't know what I'm doing here. No, that isn't PowerPoint. I want to close this one. How do I do this? I'm going to stop sharing. Stop sharing that.
So if you pull up the one that you want, see if you can pull up, and then you can see and get to the file that you're looking for, and then share at that point. Click on it and share at that point.
Okay.
And if you're having that much of trouble, you can always just send it to us and we can open it up for you.
You have it, you know, but I want to, okay. You have it, but I opened it before. What have I done? Anyway.
Rashawn, you have it? Maybe you can open it up and then we can share it.
Where am I here? Okay, share. I can do that. And I want to go to the Excel file. Where's the Excel file? Where's the Excel file? No, man. Oh. No. See it here. Okay.
Okay.
Are you seeing it?
We're seeing it now, yes.
Okay. How do I get, I want to close that. Oh, can't close it. Why can't I close it? Are you seeing the whole thing?
I'm seeing the whole thing in terms of what's on your screen, yeah.
Oh, let me go back in and close something here. Let me go back in and close the document recovery thing. You're seeing that, right? And
I'm seeing the Excel spreadsheet that I'm thinking you want to share. Yeah. It says January, February.
You see document recovery on the side of it?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, just give me a minute.
Okay.
Write down your questions in
All
the
right.
meantime. In the meantime.
We do have some questions.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, if anybody's looking into the chat, we've been sharing with you that this is one of a number of talks. Next Sunday, same time, same place, we'll be speaking with Rita Hamilton, and then we're going to be speaking with I think it's Keosha and Miles. They were not able to present at the conference. There were some technical difficulties. So this will be a brand new share with them. So I really am excited what they're going to be bringing to us. There are some international folks, some young folks. They're doing some pretty dynamic work, and they're going to come and share what they've been doing out there in the U.S. and kind of talk about the challenges that they are having in terms of their farming opportunities and what opportunities they are. Because sometimes we think it's us alone go through the struggle, but not understanding that it's a global issue. So we really want them to come on board and share with that. We also want to mention, while Deanna is looking for things, is that next month is Organic October. So it's very much, we have a lot of amazing dynamic things going on. So we're going to be sharing that with you. We have water management classes that are going to be happening in two parts of the island. One will be in Trelawney and one will be in Clarendon. So for those of you who have been following the Genesis work, we're having two classes. And so we'll be helping transport those of you in different parts of the island to come to that. We will be doing that training with Roger Malcolm. And it's a little different look in terms of what you normally get when you come to a water management class. You tend to get irrigation and all that stuff. But we thought before you get to the irrigation, drip system and black tank, we need to talk about just how you manage water coming onto your land. Because some people have none and some people have a lot at times, and some people have, a stream, a river, all those kinds of stuff, different catchments. But we want to think about it first before we go and implement a strategy. So we encourage people to come out, even if you already have your system set up, or you think you have your system set up, there's always something to learn. And Roger is taking it from a permaculture perspective. And I sat through one of his classes before, and I really liked what he had to share. And I thought that every farmer should really, or anybody that has land should be looking at coming to learn and look at it through that perspective so they can do some better planning. And so you see on the slide, the water management course that's going to be coming on. And before we end, we're going to go through the rest of it. It looks like, Deanna, you found your slide?
Yes, I found it.
Okay.
Are you seeing it?
Yeah, I'm seeing it now. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, everybody's seeing it. Great.
Yes.
Okay. Remember, I'm not an expert at this thing. You can probably fix it and make it better than I have it here. Okay? But what I did, I looked at the farming from a general farm supervision point of view, and then I looked at it from a plot or a field. What is happening in the field? It would be best if the supervisor or the owner did the general farm, put in the details for this section, and the worker in the plot, or however you have it, whether it's a greenhouse or whatever, you get what is happening for each crop. Okay? All right. So we're looking at this now, and I thought that this Excel would help. So here I am. I have a file for each month, and I go all the way down to the last day of the month. For February, I put 29 days because some years it's 29 and some years it's 28. Now, everything that happens daily in a month under each of the headings at the top, which goes horizontally across the page, you write in a little something. Okay? You write it. The field was in good condition, the plants are growing, they're at the height. If it's corn you can probably judge what field conditions are by the height of the plants and so on. You want to write something on the weather, what the temperature is, soil, and the soil moisture status. I understand there is a little instrument you can stick in the soil, and it will tell you how much moisture is in it, so that you know when to irrigate and when to fertilize and when to do what you're doing. And did you put on the irrigation? Yes. How? No. How long if you did? The weeds, are you noticing some type of weed that is coming in? Let's look at the weeds. Maybe you're using some organic fertilizer, and in it, all kind of things growing, all periwinkle. Next time you're buying your organic fertilizer, maybe you don't want that brand or it from that source. You understand? Because you're seeing things. Pests, you notice any pests? Pests could be the too. What treatment did you apply? How was labor? Did people come out to work on the first? Everybody came out, or they only came out in the morning, not in the evening, and you might want to say why, and so on. No, as a manager, you're always going to have a lot of work, because when you write down all those things, they don't mean a darn unless you, having observed it all month and looking and going through from day 1 right down to day 31, you want to come to some conclusions. January was a disappointing month because it didn't rain in December, last December, and although rain was predicted, there was no rain. You may want to talk about that under the weather conditions, so you have to go through. There is no easy way to do work except to do it. You have to go through and say, for on a field observation, you may want to say the fields were beautiful up to the first week, and then you don't know what happened. But when you come across here at pests, you find out there was some pest thing that reared its ugly head. At the end of each month, you will go through all the things that happened every day. Well, for me, I would have been jotting down some things at the end of every week, and then at the end of the month, no, I just take the 4 weeks jotting and write a little brief right here.
Well, Diana, one of the things that's beautiful about this is because if you are wanting to be an organic farmer, even if you're going for certification or not, this is something that's required because for organic folks, it's about traceability, tracing.
Yes.
So we have to do this. So if anybody's out there and they're farming, and even not only for the people who are farming, but I know that we have some backyard gardeners on here. It is just as important to be able to keep a diary of what's going on and
what's going on. And traceability is becoming more and more important. Yeah.
Very important.
Very important.
And if you go back up to the
when I did this, I wasn't thinking organic farming especially. But
this is the way of the world.
Farmers, that's important.
Right. But this has been the challenge with other farmers. And even sometimes with some of our organic farmers, I have to keep reminding them that when we come out and we're trying to do some kind of inspection, even a verification, it's important for you to have the data because you cannot actually apply for organic certification without it.
Yes.
If you could go all the way back up to the top, Deanna, I want to just go back up and look at because all we're seeing is blank screen. So maybe you could hold on to that because as you're moving the cursor with
I was just going up and down.
So one of the things too, I'm happy that the weather thing is so important. Not just with climate change issue, but just even running your farm and looking at the charting what is going on, not just for the month, but when you go back a year and you said what was happening in June, on June, whatever was going on, what was the temperature, what was the rainfall, whatever, you're able to look through and see what was going on. So you can even predict and say, all right, well, last year was this, and then over a couple of years, you kind of check the cycle. Because as farmers, we are scientists, right?
You are.
Right, we are. So it's important for us that data collection so we can go back and start to make some plans.
Let's say somebody eats some callaloo and becomes sick. And they say, Lord, I always go to farmer's market and buy it. And they buy it from Miss Mary. And they want to put the blame on Miss Mary, let's say, for instance, because it was a chemical that poisoned the person. And Miss Mary can look in here and prove that she didn't use any pesticide on her thing. So this is a information that you may have to use it at some times in a way that you didn't even intend when you set it up, right? And there may be more things you want to see or less things. You can adjust it. Now you're talking about a year. No, what I did was that I was able to give you now a quarterly report. Because if you wait till the end of the year to make some assessments, it may be too late. So whatever you have on at the end of January on the field observation, and this time now, instead of the functions going horizontally across the page, it goes down vertically, and you see exactly what happened in January, what happened in February, what happened in March, so you can make a quarterly summary. You see? And with the weather is the same thing. The whole quarter was dry. It wasn't like that last year, but you can't even prove it because your memory going by. But this year you can prove it that this January, February, March was drier than normal. And you're going to put the important numbers, you put them in each so that you can say something. Same thing for soil, same thing for everything. And the same thing jumps, once you do April jumps on the assessment, the summary sheet. May, June will jump on it. So you have for quarter 2, then you have for quarter 3, then you get for quarter 4, and then you can do an annual performance analysis. Based on, at that time now, you know what I would do? I would hide all these, because the thing here is good, this Excel thing is good. You can hide all, what did I do here? You can hide all these, just hide them. Where is hide? Come. Hide. Where is hide? What happened to hide? Oh God. But anyway, you can hide all of them and you have them stacked up one beside the other. So it's not so hard to come to an assessment. What's going on here? Oh, it's here. Okay. I'm telling you, I'm not that good at this thing. I am not that good. But sometimes
Well,
I'm
we see you're getting it. We see you're getting it.
Yes, I'm going to get it. Yes. Come on, stop it.
So important for us to be able to.
Yes.
And what's nice about this that most other computers, once you buy the program, the Excel is in there. And if it's not, then if you have to go to paper, you go to paper. But the issue is that you need to be able to set up some system like this where you can really. This is nice to be able to do
now
in
you
Excel.
have all the reports for the 4
Right.
quarters. You don't have to be going
Trying
through
to
so
figure
many
out.
things, and you make a summary.
Mhm.
You're analyzing it, you're analyzing it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just throwing this out to you. If you want to know more about it, I will you want B column B to show unhide, and then I only want to hide these.
Another thing that I've been finding very useful is that sometimes with the receipts. So you went and you bought something and you put it in, and these days, the receipts, they whatever the chemical they're using to print the ink or the thermal with the receipt,
Yes.
In no time it disappears.
It disappeared.
I'm getting into the habit now of, as soon as I'm getting that receipt at the counter, I'm taking out my phone and I'm taking a picture of it.
Right.
And I'm storing.
I did not. The people the project what I really launched this at, my associate who is in the financial, an accountant, he suggested that you open an account on your WhatsApp for your invoices and for your payment, for the things that you buy and the things that you pay for, and the things that the monies that you collect. So you have for the what you spend and what you receive, and just take it, do it on your phone, And then you can write it in the sheet and
Right.
just take it to your calculator and tab it up. So you know, there is one I did for a goat farm, and I did put in a line for the money, and then I extended it to the cash flow.
Right.
So by the time you are finished and you go down to the cash flow, this sheet does not have on the cash flow because I only did it for a small project before I launched this for all the different crops and the different farms I was working with. The cash flow is also being filled up automatically
Right.
so that you know how much you spend and how much you received and who paid you and everything. You can break it down as detailed as you like or just bulk it as you like. But it's very it's helpful. Now, one of the workshops that I actually delivered this to, a gentleman in a high office from the Ministry of Agriculture was there, and he came to me afterwards and he said, Mrs. Mack, we're struggling with the diary thing, but this is the solution. No, I'm sure some expert can take this up and make it better. And I struggled. How do I get paid for doing this? You can't get paid for doing everything. Everything you do, you cannot get paid for it. I am not that good at Excel. I shouldn't be paid. So I'm willing to share this with everybody.
So
Anybody
what's
who is
beautiful about this,
listening and
um,
wants to use it can call me. I will help you to customize it for your particular thing. And I will even add the cash flow sheet to it, the one that I prefer for you particularly. And so, because I have it with the cash flow, but I'm
so
not showing it because it was a dairy farm. This is what I
right.
presented at the
So
farm.
what's beautiful about this now, because as much sometimes as you say you can't charge for everything, is that if people get this and do it, when they are ready to come to you for some other
We have all the
larger, deeper thing, you'd have had the information because
yes,
sometimes people come and
accurate.
they want help with things, but you don't have any data to work from.
No
So
data.
if you start off with this, no, it can be much deeper analysis of what is really going on because you've done this work, this piece of the work.
That right. That's right. That's right. And I'm telling you, if it will help, it's not easy. It's gonna mean some discipline. No, I will give a little advice. My husband is a train. No, not my husband. My son is a train. He thinks my son who thinks he owns me. So he's like a husband, if you know what I mean. He's a trained agriculturalist.
Mhm.
And he worked with a dairy farm when he left Case. And that dairy farmer, he would always boast. My boss has 13 computers because we believe in data. So everybody on the farm had some data to manage. The people who looked after the cows had data to manage. Maybe not as many as these, just a little bit. And they had to reproduce their numbers for their boss every day. And once a week or once a month, he would load his medical kit in his little truck and drive to their paddock, and he would call for certain animals, and he would predict what was wrong with them. What they didn't know was that he had a program, and when he put in the information, the program would give a suggestion as to what could be ailing the animal. That was one thing that it did. Well, the workers were so impressed that everybody started to do better at their jobs. What
Right.
my son didn't tell him was that the workers thought he was a super obia man.
So
So they were
responsible.
so careful with him because they didn't want him to practice any of this super opium on them. So they gave him the accurate thing and they were mesmerized. He would always be able to predict the what was wrong with the animals, because you know in a dairy farm animals have to be in tip-top condition. You have to get the milk mustn't have this, you know, whatever. So just to tell you that people have been using and when I went online, I saw programs that you can buy, but 99% of Jamaicans not buying it. They're not buying it. Maybe after you use this and you find that this is has limitations, you buy one that don't have the limitations that this has.
And to be honest, Deanna, a lot of those programs, you can't get them outside of the US. You have to have some person in the US paying for them. And then, so we need to also adapt it to our environment. One of the teachers I had when I was in college is like, you can make up your own spreadsheets, right? What's nice is that this one has a lot of different elements to it. So you can always add, because your operation might have a unique thing that you need to do. So you need to be able to put that. You might be tracking some other things that's in there. You can be able to adapt it to your needs. And that's what's important. But what is most important is that you're collecting some data.
Collecting the data.
So, right. And we need that behavior change to happen, because in order for us to have a real sector, and I'm saying about the organic sector, this data, because one of the things that happens with me, you know, when I was doing USAID projects or just anything, people come to me and say, well, how much money is in the organic sector? I can't tell them. Even today, I can't tell them, because the data collection is not there. Everybody's like, don't want to, you know, it's not part of it's like maybe not sharing the numbers. They don't have the numbers to share.
They don't have the numbers.
Right. So I can't go and say to maybe a particular investor or to the government or anybody else that's out there and say, you know, what
are they putting their money into?
Right. We don't have that data. So we're actually hurting ourselves by not being able to have some data.
Right.
And even as small as the farmers market is, I say to people, we used to have, as I mentioned before, the load sheets for yourself. You're leaving your farm or you're leaving your enterprise. You should know I take how many, you know, when I was doing the breads, I have my sheet. I know I took 10 breads of this kind, 10 breads of that kind, whatever kind of bread it is I was taking. And when I'm coming back, did I give away? How much did I sell them? Maybe I bartered it. You still have the data to know, oh, you know what happened? That rosemary one was a hit. Or that other thing, people never really like it that much. And I know, so I'm not gonna bait that one. I bait more of this one because more people are asking me for that. So it's so important for all of us. I'm gonna ask people here, like, just put up your hands. How many people are farmers or some kind of producers? Just raise your hand so we just have an idea in the room. Who's here that is actually doing some level of production. And I would even say, even if you're doing backyard gardening. Any hands up? I want to see people even there. I see one hand. I don't know where the hand button is. Is where when it says react at the bottom. I only see one person. We have 22 people on. All right, we have one person here that looks like they're producing something.
Three
I am happy. See, 2 hands, 3 hands raised.
4 now.
4 hands raised. All right, great. And I'm raising my hand to 5 hands raised, right? 6 hands, right? Right, because it's in all of us that are here, and this is, you know, the forum is here for us to be able to learn. If you're thinking about going into it, we're giving you some wonderful information so that you can know how to make sure.
I want to give one more tip.
Right, and we're going to open it up. We're a little bit over our time. We're going to open up for some questions, because I'm sure there's definitely 1 or 2 questions here for you, but you wanted to share one more thing.
One more thing. My son told me that his boss loved TV. So he watched TV at night, and when they're doing the advertisements, he filled out the things on his computer. So I would like to recommend that to you, because you can still watch your TV. You can, when they're selling their stuff, you write your data down.
All right, yeah, perfect. So it's that behavior change we want to see.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna open up, because I know that there's some questions already. People might have questions There was definitely one question here that I saw very early, and I'm going to go back and find it. I'm coming. Um, and as a matter of fact, the person who asked the question, if you want to unmute, you could just go ahead and ask the question now, as I'm trying to pace through
All
where the
right.
questions are.
All right, that was me.
Okay, great, perfect.
I'll try to put on the video just to be face to face, but okay. First of all, excuse the setting. It's way past midnight in my time zone, so I'm just enjoying the lecture. Very, very, very excited. Thank you so much for your insights so far. I had a question regarding the slide number 7 in your presentation, where it showed the graph of like revenue and how to start a business from seed, startup, scale up, etc. Because you had the growth, you have a crisis, you have the growth, you have a crisis, and that's how you develop the business, as far as I understood, right?
Yes, yes.
And it sounded very much, and it looks like very much like a linear process. So something happens, we adjust the business, we grow, and then we grow even further. So my question is, at the stage of, where the business grows so much that we have to find departments and create units, etc., to, compartmentalize the staff that we have, can we already implement growth through collaboration. So in a sense, to improve the communication between the departments, to improve the communication between our employees, so we don't lose that much time and we are way more effective early on when we create the departments. Is it, in your opinion and from your experience, is this something that works, especially, for example, in an environment like Jamaica, or do people need more time to adjust to the new system that you might
Remember now
implement?
that life is never exactly like the graph. So while you're growing through creativity, the crisis that you normally have is, how is the leader handling everything? Because they're at that low level where they don't have enough staff. When you start to organize, you try to, there's an overlap. There's an overlap. Always there's an overlap. So it's not as clear cut as this, but this is like just highlighting what you should try and guard against and what is driving the growth.
And
When you're
can I,
having a crisis of autonomy, maybe you're still having a crisis of leadership because the leader has to let go and let other people do some things. In the business that I run, the production business, what I did, I appointed at one time everybody as quality control. So when you complain that you didn't get the thing in the right condition from A, and now you're at B, it is causing a problem. They can't say you are telling tales because everybody is a quality controller. And other people come across to see if you're speaking the truth. Yes, but they're a quality controller for what they're doing. So, and I found a little way to get around some of these problems, but it is you have to customize it to your business. You have to customize it to your staff. You have to know that some things will be more major and other things more minor. So
and
yeah,
I, and I,
that's it.
can I jump in also for a second? Because one of the things that I've also noticed, it's good to be able to have this so that people are aware. Because sometimes people go into businesses with a blinders on. They think, yeah, man, it's a great product, and da, 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 and they're not even thinking that they're going to have as many crises as they have. And
Yeah.
if you know that you're going to have to design in the system, you have to design in when you have these ups and downs, right?
Mhm.
And if you're really paying attention, you can always avoid a lot everything. But if you design for it, then yes, you always are having that person, that it's going to go to a certain stage, you're going to need more staffing. Do you have that already? Because you know that even with just this conversation, you're going to have that as a stage of business goes through, right? So you can already
Mhm.
start talking to people ahead of time, because you're going to need those resource people. So you should almost already have like an advisory team that's sitting there for you. Anybody you meet, You kind of say, all right, this person, you say, oh, this person can bring this to the table, that person. And you talk to them and you know, put them as a little team. So when you're going through this, you have somebody to talk to. And this is one of the things so that I find that happens in Jamaica. I know that when I ran my business in Philadelphia, I had my mentors, right? I had two guys that were in business forever. At the time, there were other women too, but these two guys, Mr. West and Mr. Jarvila, and they did different things. One person dealt with my emotional stuff that I was going through, and the other person is a business. I need something to get done. And I could always rely on them because they've had years of experience and they knew where to do. And they've also went through all those stages. So when I'm here complaining and crying about something, they're like, okay, let me tell you how you could deal with this, or this is what I happened. So, but we tend to be in Jamaica, we don't want nobody to know anything about what we're doing, and we kind of hide it up. But find some people that you really can trust. And yes, they're the resource people that you bring in, not just at the end when there's a problem, but they're helping you chart your way through. And they can even say, oh, you know what, you're gonna meet on this. Did you think about that? And we need to understand that we should be doing that and not feel like we need to know everything. Companies, major companies don't operate like that. They have whole departments that deal with forecasting, that deal with all these things. So we need to find those other resource people that can support us so that we don't make as many, we're going to still make mistakes, but we don't make as many mistakes. And that's why it's good to take a class before you do this. I know that when I was doing my business in Philadelphia, they offered a class. I've been trying to get Deanna to offer the same kind of classes in Jamaica, but I went to a class where it was 2 months of, you know, kind of writing a business plan and development. And out of that, I was able to meet with other people in the same thing, and we could commiserate together. And we had a set of resource people that were there. I think we need that in Jamaica. And because we tend to want to work in a silo, and as Deanna said, working in a silo is not going to be good because you're just have these blinders on. So I like the question. And I think that we definitely, as you said, we need to bring in, don't wait until the thing. And we all can tell when the crisis is coming, you know, but we want to kind of close our eyes and act like it's not happening. Don't wait till there's no money in the bank to pay the staff to say, oh my God, there's going to be an issue. You know it's there. And you won't know it's there if you don't do the numbers.
You won't know.
Thank you so much, both of you, for your answers.
Go ahead, please.
Is there someone else with a question? You can unmute. This is the time.
While that person puts up their hand, I also want to say to you that anything you grow, whether it's an animal or a crop, the activity of growing it in Jamaica is not taxable. Register with RADA, apply for your non-taxable status. It lasts for 10 years. It's renewable. The government is not looking at your profits to take tax out of it. When you have another kind of business, like you process, you are to sell from your farm to the processing arm. And the money that the farm earns is not taxable. The money that the profits, not the money, the profits from the production, that is profitable. But every input that is legitimate for the production is non-taxable also. They don't just tax you.
Say it again. I think you need to say that again. Say it one more time, because I don't think many people.
Farming is a non-taxable operation. To get the non-taxable status, you have to be registered with RADA. That is, since RADA has started, you have to register with them. So it suits you to know your numbers, and you have to, well, you need to know who you're sharing your numbers with. But if you're in an association, you can share your numbers with the association. Because when they go to get help, the helpers want to know who they're helping. Are they helping some people that not making no money? Or are they helping people who are making a contribution? But a lot of people in farming make no tax return. Eventually, government is going to stop facilitating farming because all the things that they are pouring in, and maybe that's why they don't fix the irrigation and fix the road and fix the things. All the money they are pouring in, they're not seeing any returns from it. And nowadays, the whole world is run by data. Now, my farming friends don't like to hear that, but I'm telling you it's the truth. One day, somebody is going to say, but look here, when the people who will rent or lease all these lands to, they're not making any money. We don't get no returns. Stop it. Put house on the land. Because once the house go on, you have to pay the property tax. You know that way? So
Yeah.
we have to look at that. And also, we have to be, if you're serious about what you're doing and you're in an association or in a group, you must be able to trust each other. Everybody know you're making money. I test it with my clients, you know, and I work it out based on what they tell me. And then I say to them, so it's about so much you make, you take home, right? Uh-huh. And if them say, hey man, yeah, that look right, I know they make more. If they take longer to answer, I know that they're not the A grade farmer that they think they are, because everybody tell me they are A grade. And when I give them the A grade results, a lot of them just answer fast. Don't go no further, Miss Mac. Because it's more than that I'm making. That's how I interpret it.
Right.
You know? So I know they're making money. It's just numbers. You can see how much production it's going to cost you to produce and how much it's going to cost you a pound to sell. And do the multiplication. Numbers don't lie. And the subtraction. So, you know, there's nobody to fool. If you sell a cow, I can tell you about how much money you collect. I ask you the weight of the animal. You don't have to tell me how much a pound you sell it for. I have a range.
So I have one last question. If anybody has any more questions, they can put their hands up, but I do have a question for you. So
I have a question.
you have a
Fundraising.
you have a question? Yep.
Hi, I'm Nadine Chambers.
I need you.
My association, as far as farming is concerned, is with Maccabee Enterprise. I have family land in Golden Valley. My concern with Ms. McFarlane's presentation, as detailed as it is that it's not reaching who needs it. So the typical farmer profile in Jamaica is not someone who can understand what she has said. I don't see where Rada is out in the field sharing this information, helping the smaller farmers to get organized and breaking down what she is saying in a way that they can understand. Saying all of that now, for those of us who can understand it, if we're going to ensure that the information that she has shared underpins our efforts at food security, we have to find a way to have an alliance with all of us as farmers. Because right now it's not working. You can walk into the market districts, Coronation Market, Brownstown, St. Anne's Bay, Morant Bay, and you can see, as she says, that money is in farming. But without this kind of structure that she has outlined, we're not going to see the growth and the benefit from generation to generation. So they will say, yes, is it send the people them go to school and is it build a house? But as far as it being in a structure where it can easily form part of a cell that come into farming, do this, do that. There's a gap. That's what I'm looking for. There is a gap. And I think an initiative like this should be replicated right across, whether it's by alliances with 4-H Club, Movement, Heart, and so on. They're building apps for farmers to use to do exactly what Ms. McFarlane is carrying us through, but on a digital platform. But most don't have that access. So for example, up in Golden Valley, where my family farm is, digital access, internet access is a joke. You don't have any access. So how are we going to translate this to a wider collection of farmers? As I said, to ensure that it is what is going to anchor and underpin food security, because that's the big issue for me. It's not just, you know, farming because I need to eat what I grow and grow what I eat. The big issue for me is farm security. Our food import bill is very high. We know the hotels are driving that and all of that, but on a granular household to household level, food insecurity we're now at crisis, I think. So if we're able to translate all this into ensuring that all our farms.
So I'm gonna let Deanna, you wanna answer that question?
Yes, I want to answer.
In between
I
hobby,
presented.
serious agro-value process.
So we're gonna allow her to answer the question, and I also have something to say as well. So you wanna go first?
Okay. When I presented this to a group of farmers in Hanover, some of them, alas, are barely did not have the exposure to internet and software and computers and whatever. And I said to them, what about your children? And the next workshop, they brought their children. The goat farmers brought their children, and these other farmers brought their children. And those kids are in school learning how to use the computer and so on. And I said to them, it wasn't an instruction, just a suggestion, that if you need a laptop to do this for your business, you can, same way you take out a fridge from Courts, you can buy one from Courts and pay for it little. And one farmer told me that she had done it and she was implementing her record keeping. But she understood. She's IT literate. So it wasn't one of those who was not IT literate. But she was IT literate. She didn't bring the children invitation. She took the suggestion to take out a laptop from Courts, and she's doing it. So who wants to do it? There's a way to get it done. Because I'm not an expert at Excel, you know. I mean, I use Excel and I know it's powerful, and I plan to do a whole course in Excel, but I haven't done the course yet. And I can do some things with it. But we have to start. You're quite right. We have to start helping ourselves, and we also have to start sharing the data, because the time is going to come when the planners have no data on agricultural performance, no real data. All these farmers are registered as farmers, and when they take the registration list from RADA, which they can do, and check it against the TAJ list, they will not see any farmers, too many farmers from one list on the other list. So it means that nobody is making a return. It may be because they don't make any money because there is no tax. So if you're making $10 million and you are in farming, the 1.5 don't even affect you. The 1 point whatever they're giving you as free income doesn't even affect you. You are not required to pay tax if you have the status. So, you know, we're hiding when we don't have to hide, and the hiding is not making the game work in our favor.
I absolutely agree with you. So
you are quite right now.
I'm having a similar issue because there's a couple of things that's happened. There's been a number of different organizations, whether it's the GAP people or even some of the things that RADA has done over the years, where even if it's not, because I've seen people with these big books and that RADA has come through with when they were doing the GAP training for a couple of years, farmer field school stuff, where they actually have the books that people can actually write the data in. So that's one. Then they've come up with icon-based kind of things with the phone that you could do some things on it. But what part of it is really we didn't grow up, and many of us, you know, the farmers didn't grow up, and I work with the farmers, they didn't grow up with all of that. So, you know, maybe them write a little something on the back of a board, or them have a little something that would do some tracking. But what's different from the US farmer, where the US farmer has to pay taxes, the IRS is going to come and lock them up. They've had to be forced to learn some of these systems, whether if it's paper and pen, where they're keeping records, because at some point IRS is going to show up and they could get locked up, or a farm could be taken from them. So we have a different system here. We know where that system come from, the whole colonial system, where the big farmers didn't want anybody to really tax them on that. So they weren't going to put those things into place. So now we're at this point where it's important for us to have the data, because we have more understanding that we need to be able to track and trace and do those things. And so it's really about now us shifting and moving. And then you're right, what I've seen now is the young people, because a lot of those folks are aging out of the farming, and the younger ones, they may be going to KS, or they're going to UA, they're going to whatever, and they realize instead of go to a call center, it's better they go back and work with their family and get that farming that sent them to school to get that move to that next level, right? And they actually have assets and that kind of stuff. So I think when we do like the farming as a business at conference, it's specifically why we do that. We open it up so that you come and you would have access to Miss Mac, you have access to all these different people. So whether you are the grandfather or the elderly woman, or that person that is going into that transition, or a young person, you can come and say, these are things that are being offered. And so it took a number of years to get to this dysfunction the way how it is in the system. But what we are doing now is having it, open it up and having these conversations that all them have to do is click on the Zoom thing on their phone, and they can listen in and get some more information. And if they want to do a deeper dive, we're making it accessible through JOAM, through the workshops that we're doing around the island. But it has to be something that they are inspired and want to do, and to make that behavior change, because we can't make it for you. We can only offer you the resources, offer you the talk, offer you some access to material, but it really comes down to, do you think or want your business to shift and change? And then you apply it. And so this is what we have to do. And it's going to take a hot second to get that. And I'll say one more thing. I've been saying that I would want us to have, especially in the organic sector and in the work that we do, is to have a financial agronomist. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but someone, we love to write a project where for a year or two, maybe you do it for a year, and you work with those farmers that, are interested, and you help them through that process, because again, we're trying to get that behavior change to happen. And we create the information for what they need, especially right now, since the government not charging them anything. What information is going to be valuable to you? And we work with them to set a thing that they can actually set the record keeping and almost keep them on task. You go and say, Master, how is it? You have those receipts for me, let me help you put this in. And then at the end of the year, you show them, because many farmers, we do a course here called 1-1 Cocoa. And we definitely do all the budgeting, we do all the crop plans and all that stuff with the farmers when they come in. And we had one of our guys that worked with us, we made him, give him homework. He had to go through and track every single cent him spend for the week. And when he come back, he said, Mr. Nicola, I never know I make so much money. Because when he adds up the amount of money that he spends, because he has 5 children, all of them have to go to school and get bus fare and da. So he has his own farm that he's farming. He's working with us. He's doing other things to make that money. And then he look at it, he says, I didn't know I make this much money in a month. It's because they're not tracking, but we made him tweak some stuff. They realized how much. I know he made better decisions. They say, what happened? We're gonna mix juice. We're not gonna buy up all them bag juice that I've been giving you money to buy. Well, they can't make juice and put it in the freezer. So he made some changes now because he saw where he was spending a lot of money and he didn't have to. Right. And I think that we should all, maybe this week, do some of that tracking, write down for the week, every single thing. We'll be back next week. So if everybody take it on as a thing this week, let us really write down where our energy, and when you do permaculture, say where your energy is flowing out. Let's see how our energy is flowing. What are we spending? Are we spending money, coffee, or buying a bunch of water bottles, right? What are we doing? Because we said we don't have the money half the time, but what does our energy exchange look like? I'm going to charge everybody this week to do that and see what you come back with. There's you have your hands up, ma'am. You want to?
Yeah,
but say this is the last question, and then we're going to close out.
Yes, absolutely. It's the last question. It's a short one, and it's directed to both of you. If so, feel free to answer. If a person wants to start farming in Jamaica, what is the first step you would recommend them doing? Is it a thought? Is it a paper? Is it a talk to or a conversation? What is it?
Well,
I'm going to let Deanna take it. You take it and I jump in.
I would say, is there a market for what you're farming? Is there a market? but we know people love organic produce. So if it's an organic produce, there is a market. And there's actually an outlet that is welcoming organic producers. If it's cereal and cotton that you want to grow, you may have a little problem, because how do you make contact with that market and know what they want? And, do you have the, what is available? What is the minimum of quantities they would buy? And would they help you with the technology? There's a lot more questionings, and it could be a longer process. But whatever you're growing, you need to know that there's a market for it. And I would say that's the first thing.
All
One of
right,
the
thank
things
you
that-
very much.
For me, and we get a lot of people coming to us that want to farm. And one of the first things I always ask them if they know anything about farming. That's the first thing. Do they know anything about farming? Because we have a lot of people that want to return home to Jamaica and they want to do farming. And I asked them if they've ever farmed before, right? Really? And I said, if you haven't farmed before, how about go volunteer on a farm?
Yes.
Don't use your money to start something that you have never done. Go and learn from somebody else. Go take a 6 months internship. Go help somebody else on their farm and see what it looks like first. Then if you think that is something that you're still interested in doing, then I would say to them, go take a permaculture class. I say that because it's about design. A lot of people come home, or they come, and I'm seeing it now, and they're just destroying the place because they just have a bulldozer lab. They have no idea what they're doing, right? No idea. And they don't have a first clue. They haven't designed. They may have the land because it's family land, but do they have a design? I had a guy come and want to farm, and nowhere around him was water. No spring, no well, no river, no nothing. Like, where you gonna get the water from? Because you just made your life so much harder. So I always want to learn from everybody else's mistake. I don't want to spend my money learning and making mistakes.
No.
I want to learn from everybody else's mistakes.
Mistakes are costly.
Are very costly. So the first thing I would tell you, if anybody wants to do farming, find out first, or come if you're in the US or somewhere else, I tell them to go do that first. And if not, and they're here, go and volunteer on somebody else's farm. Go learn, go see what the challenges are, and talk to as many people as possible before you put $1 down to do anything. Because we have this romantic idea about farming, and we get caught in that, but it's a lot of work. And then I ask them if they think they have money, who is going to farm for them? And especially if they're coming into organic farming. I said to them, the cousin, uncle, friend that you think is going to work on the farm, have they ever had any organic experience? And if they haven't, I said, stop right there. You're going to lose your shot. If you don't know what you're doing and that person doesn't know anything about organic farming, you're going to lose your shirt. Stop. So I try to guide them in the process. If nothing else, go get some training first before you say it. Because it's like asking, would you hire a person or work a person? Your brain, you don't know anything about brain surgery. You're going to go start doing brain. Farming is that deep. It's a science. And if you don't know about that science, I would say stop, go get some education first. Take your time and go through the process of learning. Get some more people around you so you understand what you're doing. And know that you're going to have, in Jamaica right now, you're going to have staffing issues because there's no one, even if you're doing conventional farming or the farming, you're going to have problems with staff because we don't have that. So, we could stay here all night because it just get a juicy now. But
thank you so much for your answer. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Oh, no problem, honey. I am always excited to have conversation with Ms. Mack because I learned so much, and you have the wealth of knowledge in terms of all the plans that you've done for folks. And we just want you to continue to work with us because we know that we have a lot of work coming up. There's a number of projects and stuff that we're going to always be tapping into, especially the organic folks. And we just are really grateful and thankful that you took the time off your Sunday where you could be, with your husband and doing other things or working on your other clients to really take the time to do this work. And it's always a voluntary thing that you do for us. And so we're always so grateful when you do show up. And I would recommend anybody that is thinking about doing a plan or you need a coach, right? She's there to help coach you through the work. right? So definitely want to have access. We put your number up and all that good stuff. And again, we will be back next week. Everybody that is here, there was about 21, there's no 19. Everybody has homework to do. And I don't want you to come back and tell me all what you spent, but what was from your exit from this activity. Again, is looking at this tracking, right? Is record keeping. What did you notice about your record keeping this week coming up that you'd want to share when we come and meet Rita Hilton next week, talking about just really the nature of Jamaica and distribution. Okay, so good night, everyone, and I look forward to have a wonderful, super amazing week, productive week, safe week, and just keep doing the work that you're doing. All right, thank you so much, and good night. And oh my God, how am I going to forget? I'm here talking. I am so blessed to have such an amazing team. We have Rashana that's here, and Michelle Geis has been on this graphics and helping us with all the organization. And of course, Rashana is also a Peace Corps volunteer here in St. Thomas. We're so grateful for her help and her assistance, helping us put the program together, doing the legwork to make sure that everything that you see here, it happens. And Michelle as well, making sure that she keeps me on check and on track. And all the graphics that you see, it's her doing it. And also if you get any other graphics at all that you see that from JOAM, it's usually Michelle doing it, or Source Farm. So we want to big her up because it is a lot of work and we keep harassing her to do more and more. And so we just want to say thank you. And thank you to all the members of people that are JOAM members. And also I want you guys to share this information, right? Share the information, share that we're doing this. There are a lot of dynamic people coming on. This will be on our JOAM website. So if you missed it or you didn't get all of it, and you want somebody else to come and see what we were talking about, please do reach out and go on it, and know that we have a lot of things coming up in the next Organic October is coming up, and we want to see everybody at these events and also online as well. So much love, and thank you for the company this evening, having this conversation with Miss Mac. Thank you, and thanks, Miss Mac.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Good evening.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye.